Hey there, and welcome to Senior Musicians Unite, the channel where I try to show you guys as senior musicians how to get more out of certain products. And I also like to talk about some industry talk. Now, I know that's not resonating that well with you guys because a lot of you guys only want to kind of know what I'm doing with Band in a Box. And that's fair. I mean, I read the comments, I go through and I understand, but I'm just telling you that the other things I talk about, and maybe they'll affect you later, but how to submit a song to publishers, making covers, songwriter's block, or the dreaded, and I call it the dreaded songwriting competitions. And more important, what you need to know about creating viral music. But again, I study my analytics. I look at the comments that I get, and it's interesting that the top video on this channel consistently, week in and week out of all the other stuff I have, chords, shot, pushes, chords builder, media, all that stuff, the top video every week is, I just purchased Band in a Box and how do I get started? What does that tell me as a channel owner? That tells me that my audience, you guys, are really interested in that because you bought the product, you opened the box, and you went, wow, what do I do? So this video has served you all well, and your feedback tells me it's the one that consistently people are looking for. So what I thought I would do with this video is I thought I would tell you how I started using Band in a Box. I started learning how to use Band in a Box by doing covers, songs that I already knew, songs that I was familiar with, but I needed a companion to do this. And my favorite companion was the Hal Leonard Easy Play Songbooks. I thought it was such a great tool. It helped me to learn how to use Band in a Box and how to put covers together and learn the product. And one of the reasons I say easy play is because in the easy play songbooks, they have a great degree of simplicity in showing you time signatures, good chords to use, chord changes for the hook, and you get familiarization in using chords to songs you already know. And that's really important. And if you get that and you're creative, then you can experiment with tempos and styles and a host of other learning scenarios to help you in composing your own songs. Now, I'm not trying to play anybody down, but I also have a few quick charts, very small, with basic note duration, time signatures, and bar settings and repeats, which will help you as you start typing chords into Band in a Box if you're not a fluent reader. And I know, too, man, because I spent most of my life, especially the earlier part when I was younger, and handsomer, of course, but I spent that part as a singer. I had never been a musician in a band. I got picked up from people hearing me sing in the shower because I was always a singer. And as a singer singing soul or funk or R&B or whatever, I'm sorry, but nobody ever gave me a melody chart. They didn't give me a melody chart even when I did a musical a couple of years ago. They gave me a CD and said, learn these songs. So yes, I understood music and I knew chords, but I didn't practice them a lot because I was too busy singing and learning harmonies. And our harmonies were not done with musicians. Our harmonies were done with us crowded around and these ears. That's how we did it. So no, I didn't spend a lot of time with that, like these little small charts I'm going to show you in a second. Basic note duration, time signatures, and bar settings will help you tremendously as you start typing chords into Band in a Box. So let's get started. And again, this is for beginners. I can't put that out enough because I know a lot of you accomplished musicians are going to go, oh man, I don't need that. And you probably don't, which is fine, right? But for a lot of you guys, you beginners, you guys are telling me by looking at how I get started every week that this is probably information that may be of value to you. So let's dive in and get you started with how I use songbooks and covers to learn how to use the Band in a Box product. Be right back as soon as I change my screen up. Okay, so we got our band in the box up and we're getting ready to get started here. But the first thing before we do it, and by the way, the song I'm going to do is Kiss on My List by Hall & Oates, which is one of my all-time favorites. And again, it's out of a Hal Leonard easy play songbook, so it's not going to be super complicated, but it does have a couple of nuances. So I'm opening up a blank band in the box and we're going to talk just a couple of minutes about a few things when you talk about reading sheet music from from an easy play songbook. And the first first thing we need to understand is we need to understand music symbols. Something simple, of course. We're not going to go crazy here. Look at the chart I have here, and you can see that a whole note lasts for 4 beats, a half note lasts for 2 beats, a quarter note lasts for 1 beat, and eighth note lasts for half a beat. And we have 16th notes and things like that, but that's not pertinent for most chord books, chord sheet music. It's not a player. Also, we need to understand the treble clef and the bass clef. So we need to understand the treble clef and the bass clef because that's the first thing we see when we look at a piece of sheet music in a songbook. And we need to understand what a flat looks like, which is the small b, and what the sharp looks like, which is a hashtag. Those are the things we need to know. All this other stuff in here, you can use it as reference later. But if you know those things, whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, treble clef, flat, and sharp, you got it, man. You got it. You're ready to get started. You're ready to get on with this thing. So, okay, those are music symbols. Now, the next thing we need to understand as we look at our sheet music that's looking us in the face is, right at the very beginning, it's telling us what that key signature is. So in the note that I'm showing you, if you look at Kiss on My List and you look at this sheet music page here, what do you see at the very beginning? You see that the song is in 4/4 time, and you see that 3 staves up, there is a flat symbol. So the chart I'm showing you now shows you major and minor key signatures. And if you look at the major and minor key signatures, if you follow that chart along, where you see 3 staves up and a flat symbol, that says that the key is in F minor with a relative minor. I'm sorry, F major. Oh my gosh, F major with a relative minor of D. But stick with the majors. We're going to stick with the majors, right? So 3 staves up and a flat symbol is F major. So we need to fix our chart now in Band in the Box before we go forward. So let's just do that right now. So we're going to go Band in the Box default. It always opens in C. So again, we need to change the key to F major. So we go over here. I hit the symbol here, open it up, and I change that to F. So now the song is going to be written in the key of F. Another thing I always do is I go right to the end and I type in 80 bars. Just something I do right off the bat because I write my songs out in longhand. And I always have only one chorus and the time signature is 4/4. So now we're matching the sheet music. We're in 4/4 time and our key is in F. We got that part straight. Now, we need to understand note duration. And note duration, it means that, as you can see from the chart here, if it's a circle here, it's a whole note. If it's a half, it's a stave with an open. If it's a quarter, it's a quarter note, and you can see the eighth notes. Those usually only apply in most chord charts if there are changes along the way in the chord structure. Now, Band in the Box is set up with 4 beats per bar. Important. In its basic form, it's 4 beats per bar. This first half I'm showing you here is the first 2 beats, and the second half is the second 2 beats, which means that by default, you can add 4 chords per bar. Now you can also, they have a function called micro chords and all that stuff, but again, we're not going to get into that here. I want you to stick and get it stuck in your mind that 4 beats per bar means you can easily enter 4 chords per bar. That's all you need to know to enjoy inputting basic sheet music into Band in the Box. So let's start. Oh, I forgot one thing that you see consistently in sheet music is you also see repeats. As look at this chart right here that I'm showing you. This is a repeat. The solid bold line with 2 dots in front of it, and the solid bold line again with 2 bars with 2 dots behind it. You'll see that. And what you will see is that when you see that, everything in those 2 dots will play at least twice. And again, they do this in sheet music all the time. Of course, if they didn't, right, 100 songs sheet music could easily be, 1,000 pages if they didn't do that. So they use these bar settings and these repeats to save space, to save time in actually writing the actual song out. But again, that's something I also ignore when I'm doing my songs, because I have found at times that the bar settings can be a bit inconsistent. And also, I don't do it without creating a song from scratch, because I don't really know where I want to go at that point in time. So I never start with that. I may end with that sometimes, but I don't start with that. But you will see repeats consistently when you look at songbooks and inputting actual chords into the system. So now we can get into putting our song Kiss on My List in the system. We've got our key signature set in F. We've got our time signature in 4/4, and I just set it up for 80 bars. So this is the sheet music for Kiss on My List, and you can just follow me along. First of all, I'm going to show you the sheet music really quickly, because I'm going to show you one thing I'm going to omit. I'm going to omit the intro bar. I'm not going to start with that. I'm going to start automatically from where the actual song starts at, where the first chord starts at. And the reason why I do that is because I can go back and add an intro later. I don't care about that. But it's so much easier for me to input and teach this to you and show you how by doing it this way. So again, my first note or chord, is D. It starts right at the beginning of the bar. So the song starts in D. So I'm going to put in D first. And next thing, the D lasts for 2 bars. So this is bar 1 and bar 2. And my next one is F. Now notice it has a slash and a D there. If it has a slash and a D there, then that means that the bass note is different and not of the natural chord. So if I put a slash in and D, that means that I want you to play an F with a D in the bass. That's what that means. Remember that when you start inputting your chords. And that chord lasts for 2 bars. The next chord that comes up is a G. That lasts for 2 bars. Easy stuff, right? The next chord is A with a slash and a D, which means A with a slash and a D in the bass. And interesting enough, bar 8 has A6, so I need to put an A and a 6 in, which gives me the chord of A6. Now, I'm going to just do a little quick thing so it helps me guide my way along. Just by clicking here, it's a part marker. So I'm going to add a part marker here, because this is where the song actually is going to start at. So I'm going to type in, the first thing when I start the song starts D minor 7th is where the actual vocals kind of start. There's a little quick note prelude going in, but it starts at D minor 7th. That lasts for 2 bars. And then, interesting enough, on the 3rd bar of the verse, there is nothing annotated for the first half of the bar. But in the second half of the bar, there's a G minor sitting there. So I'm going to type in G minor on the 3rd beat. There's a G minor there. So I'm putting a G minor in on the 3rd beat, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And that lasts for 2 bars. The next thing that comes up is a B flat. So I'll put my B flat in. Then the next bar is a B flat with a C in the bass. So again, it's BB slash C in the bass. The next chord is a D, and the D lasts for 2 bars. Notice this is starting to repeat itself. The next time I start the verse, it's going to be D minor 7th for 2 bars, for 3 bars. And then it goes to G minor for the 4th bar. Next, it goes to B flat with a C in the bass, D for 2 bars. Comes around to G minor 7th. I could actually show you this typing this fast, but I think this is good for you. And then it goes to an A sustain E. That's A S-U-S / E for sustain chord, G minor 7th, and again another A sustain / E. Then it goes to G minor 7th again. This is a change, so let me just annotate this as a change. So it's G minor 7th, A sustained, E, G minor 7th. And this is complicated. I'm going to show you this passage. I'm going to pop this passage on the screen here so you can see this. See that? It's G/A on beat 1, and on beat 3 it goes to an A. So I'm going to go G/A, A here, and now this is the tricky one here. Notice what we got here. I'm going to show this on the screen again. Here's the sheet music. It's showing me a D on beat 1. On beat 2, it has an A with a D in the bass. And on beat 4, not beat 3, and on beat 4, it has a G with a D in the bass on beat 4. So I'm going to put it, and actually, that's actually a push. But I'm not going to do it as a push, but it's actually a push. So I'm going to go D, comma, A/D. And if I don't like it, I can go back and change it. That's beats 1 and 2 of that bar. And on the third beat, I'm going to hit a comma and do G/D. And notice it doesn't play anything on the third beat except for what is already playing. And it goes and it plays a G with a D in the bass on the fourth beat of the bar, which carries over into the second part of the bar, which is A with a D in the bass. Then it goes to D minor 7th, comma, sleep with a D in the bass, and it repeats that pattern of the fourth beat, D minor 7th, which carries over, and then it goes to 2 bars, and then it goes to a G for 2 bars. I know it sounds getting a little complicated, but it's not really. It's a bit strange, but it's not really complicated. A/D. And a D, and an A. And that's far enough. That's going to take us through the song right there. So again, if I play this now, you're going to hear what it sounds like. And just to give you an idea, Kiss on My List. Let me take you through it. I got papers all over the place here. I'm trying to get this right for you, right? I don't want it to get too complicated. I'm trying to keep it simple. But this is what it sounds like. Oh, I forgot something. Let me back up for a second. I forgot to find a pattern for this song. I want to know if this song or something like this song with this feel is actually in Band in a Box already. So I'm going to go to Style here. Got my chords in. Remember, I always said if you want to find the style to a song, type the chords in first. So I'm going to my style picker here. I open my style picker, and over here in this section here of my style picker, guess what? I'm going to type in Kiss on My List. And I'm going to hit enter. Now, it says there are no matching styles here. That's because I put in Kiss on My List. And there it is, Hall & Oates. It says it's light pop, 4/4 time, EV 120. Well, I did some research not to hold you guys up, so I automatically went to Classic British Pop, which shows up first. Notice I hit Classic British Pop here, so I click on Classic British Pop. So I just told you to load the style out. So now we've got, up here, we've got Classic British Pop, and this is what the song sounds like. I had to make some changes. I had to make a few changes because sometimes what happens is that when they write the song and copyright it, they may go back and re-record it sometimes, so it's a little bit different. So anyway, so I had to make a few changes to a few chords. The chords were the same, but the structure was a little bit different. And I did have to put some pushes in there and change the chord structure a little bit. But this is what it sounds like now. And again, this is Kiss on My List. And again, I can't sing it necessarily, so I'm going to try to do my way through it, right? Just kind of with mumbling, you know, just so I don't get a copyright violation. But this is what you can do with it. I think it's such a great song. Excuse the voice. So you get the drift, right? The song is already done. You know, like I said, I hope they don't read it as a copyright violation, but that just goes to show you that you can take the standard Hal Leonard songbook, because that's how I do my songs. I throw them in band in a box, simple chords. Actually, I got better as the years go by, right? So now I can be more complex and putting the chords in. But it's such a great start to do that. And also, if you want to know how to do more intricate stuff, you know, in band in a box, right? Then follow my courses set up by volume. I had them all strung all over the place before, but now they're set up by volume, so you can open up one of the volumes, volume 1, volume 2, learn shots, utility tracks, chord pushes, MIDI, and stuff like that. And the nice thing about it is that when I did that, I did it by section. So you don't have to look at the whole video. Now, this was a little bit longer one here, but you don't have to look at the whole video. You can jump directly to the section on the function that you are interested in. Again, this is Henry Clarke, Senior Musicians Unite, and I will see you guys later. Bye.